It is a little bit tight back here. This is pretty cramped with my driver's seat where it is normally, which is quite far back. 100 to 0, 2.58 seconds, 35.15 meters. That is unreal. G'day, I'm Paul. Have a look at this. There is an updated Hyundai i30 in Australia. Now, this is a little bit complex because this now comes from a different part of the world. The i30 used to come from Korea for Australia, except unless it was the N. Now it comes from the Czech Republic, or Czechia as it's now known, and this is now hybrid as well. This is the entry-level N-Line version. It's priced at 36 grand. There is an N-Line premium above this at over 40 grand, so it has gone up in price. 36 grand is still a lot of money, so if you do want to spend less than that, you're gonna have to go to the i30 sedan, which is still made in Korea and available with other engine options, whereas this one isn't, so a little bit complicated, but anyway. Now, if you do want to skip ahead to other parts of this comprehensive review, you can use the time codes that are on the screen, or if you're on YouTube, you can scroll down and use the chapters below. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel, press the bell icon. Now, in terms of the design, your optional colors are under 700 bucks, which is good news. This design has now been updated in line with the changes that we originally had with the i30. And you can see now you've got full LED headlights. You've got this sort of aero section down the bottom here and the big piano black grille down here with N-Line just here. Big Hyundai logo as well. Around the side here, got a set of 18-inch alloy wheels, so machine finish there with piano black. So it's like a graphite actually on the inside there, and then the N logo in the center. Another N-Line badge just over here. You've got proximity sensing on the doors there. Blue Link as well, so this allows you to connect with the car remotely. Come around to the back with me. Around the back, full LED tail lights and a bit more sort of aero down here with a dual exhaust pipe that looks pretty good, and a pretty aggressive looking diffuser down there as well with an i30 badge just here. This car has been out for a little while now, and it is one of the oldest hatchbacks in this segment. Really not sure why Hyundai hasn't comprehensively updated this yet, but yeah, bit of a weird one. Let me know what you reckon in the comments section below. Do you think it's too expensive now compared to some of the other cars in this segment? I'm keen for your feedback. Okay, so we are inside the i30. This is what the key looks like. You've got lock, unlock, boot, and then the Hyundai logo on the back. This is a proximity sensing key, so you can leave that in your pocket. You've got a push button start just here. Look, this looks so familiar. I'm not gonna lie. This is very much starting to look dated. Loads of piano black down here. Sort of old school infotainment system. I think it's like 1 or 2 generations old Hyundai infotainment system. So yeah, it does feel, the constant beeping, it does feel sort of quite dated, especially in comparison to some of its peers that have really now stepped forward in terms of interior game. But in saying that, it is still sort of fairly nicely presented. And one of the big advantages of this being an older vehicle is that you've got buttons for everything. It's not all integrated into a touchscreen now. It is just there. You've got buttons to just access the things you need to access. So that is good news. In terms of your touch points, nice and soft there, fairly firm on the door. How soft are they? Got our gyrometer. We've tested the main surfaces in this cabin. If you do want to see how this car compares to others that we've tested before, look at the link in the description below. Now, what about build quality? Let's give this a little shake here. We'll do our build quality test. All feels fairly decent. This is what our door slam sounds like. So in terms of infotainment, you have your standard infotainment display, which has shortcut buttons on the side and then a touchscreen in the center, and then you have a screen ahead of the driver as well. This is, like I said, a couple of generations old and not the latest infotainment system you can get in a Hyundai product. Given that this is the base screen as well, you're missing out on stuff like inbuilt satellite navigation that is only driven through smartphone mirroring. You've got both Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and they are wireless. You've got AM, FM, DAB, digital radio. That's all sent through a 6-speaker sound system. Sound system's okay, nothing sort of too crazy. This is what Apple CarPlay looks like. So full screen integration there, nice and quick and snappy there for a wireless system, which is pretty good. This is what Android Auto looks like. So also full screen and pretty snappy there as well. Screen ahead of the driver is very basic. You've got a tacho, a speedo, and then you have a center section that has some of your trip computer functions. The screen changes color when you move between drive modes as well, but outside of that, nothing sort of too crazy. Now, on the safety front, you have autonomous emergency braking with pedestrian and cyclist detection. You have an auto-dimming rear vision mirror, rear cross traffic alert, a blind spot monitor built into the wing mirror, radar cruise control with a lane keeping assistant, which we will test a little bit later on. You've got front and rear parking sensors and then a reverse view camera. I'll show you what the camera looks like. Pop that into reverse. Quality is okay, but not incredible. A little bit grainy there, but you know, I guess it is what it is. And this is what the horn sounds like. Now let's talk practicality. Sorry it's so dark and has started bucketing down here. Sean is unfortunately getting wet, so I'm trying to talk as long and as laboriously as I can so he can get as wet as possible. It is a little bit cold inside the car, but anyway. So down here you've got a USB-C charging port, you've got a USB-A charging port, a wireless phone charger, a 12 volts outlet. I was only joking, I'll be very quick. In terms of storage, you've got a couple of cup holders here, a little storage nook down here, storage for your phone down there as well, reasonably sized center console, reasonably sized glove box as well, plus a sunglasses holder. It's not too bad. And then on the comfort front, these seats are great. So they've got like a semi-Alcantara finish. They hug you in nicely. Manual adjustment on both the driver and front passenger here in the entry-level N-line trim, which is kind of crazy in my opinion. Dual zone automatic climate control. Only the top spec gets heated and cooled seats, so that's something else you miss out on as well. But steering offers both tilt and reach adjustment, and let's do a little reach test here as well. A little bit hard to reach the outer edges of that screen, so you're gonna have to lean in just a little bit to catch those. So second row, it is a little bit tight back here. Yeah, a lot of the vehicles in this segment have grown in terms of wheelbase size, and you can see here this is pretty cramped with my driver's seat where it is normally, which is quite far back. You've got air vents here, which is good news though, and you'd have 2 USB-C outlets. What else have we got? Center armrest here with a couple of cup holders, ISOFIX points on your outboard seats, and you've got 3 top tether points as well. And our window testers go all the way down. So we'll go up and down, which is a good start. Oh, so close. Yeah, cargo space hasn't changed a great deal since this car was launched. Well, actually it has a little bit. I'll explain why in a second. Just under 400 litres available here in this standard configuration. Show you what it looks like with our bag in here. A suitcase rather. So you're going to go in sideways for that to fit. Beneath the cargo floor, you used to have the ability to have a spare tyre, but as you can see, that is now consumed by the 48 volt mild hybrid system. So that's where that sits. And then instead of a spare tyre, you get a tyre mobility kit, which is one of those necessities in life to fit all this hybridized stuff. 12 volts connect over here. And then if you do want a little bit more space, you can drop the second row, and that increases the space to 1,300 litres. Are you looking for some advice but don't want a hard sell? Well, I am here to help. Well, CarExpert is here to help. All you need to do is go to Google and type in "Help Me CarExpert" or scan the QR code on the screen. It'll take you to our website. CarExpert is a big business. It's not just me here doing videos. We even have a concierge team in Australia who is there to help you figure out which car to buy. We can even put you in touch with one of our friendly dealers as well. It is obligation free. You can talk to someone in Australia who will guide you through the entire process. You can talk to my mate Pete or even Sophia. All you need to do is just Google "Help Me CarExpert" or use the QR code and we will hook you up with the right car. Righto, so we've just hit the road in the i30 N-line hybrid. Now, this is an interesting setup because it has a 48 volt mild hybrid system. So that is located in the, chat old mate. That's located in the boot. So I'm gonna turn our beeps off before we do anything. Push and hold, okay. God, switch off all this stuff. There we go, turn off the lane stuff as well, while trying to watch the road. All right, here we go. We're ready. So this uses both a turbocharged petrol engine and the 48 volt mild hybrid system. That 48 volt mild hybrid system uses an integrated starter generator and is able to add a bit of sort of hybrid assistance as the car goes. So the internal combustion engine alone is a 1.5 litre turbocharged 4-cylinder petrol engine, 117 kilowatts of power, 250 newton meters of torque. So not a bad figure when you look at the size of this vehicle. Being as old as it is, a lot of the newer models have become bigger and heavier. So the end result here is that you are getting a vehicle that feels a little bit more nimble behind the wheel with a curb weight of under 1,500 kilos. So if you bury the throttle in and sort of pushes you back in the seat, but sort of doesn't rip your face off. It's just a sort of gentle acceleration, nothing too crazy. So it doesn't feel as punchy as the 1.6 litre they used to have in this. That was really a hardy engine and was kind of like a warm hatch. Not quite a full fat N car, but still quite warm. And that's all mated to a 7-speed dual clutch transmission. And this is probably the bit that I don't like all that much. You come to a stop and you sort of take off, you can kind of just feel the lumpiness of, like, it sort of picks up revs, it has to slip for a little bit and then it all hooks up. It's not exactly the best solution. They use it more for fuel economy than performance. But you did notice there as well when I was slowing down, basically will switch the engine off at times while it's moving, and that is the advantage of the 48 volt system. And then when it switches on, it is imperceptible. You barely feel it turning on at all. That is such a good little setup there. Now, in terms of fuel economy, Hyundai claims a combined figure of under 6 litres per 100 Ks. We're sitting at around 6 at the moment, so near enough there, and that's with predominantly highway driving. Now, one thing I did notice is there's a fair bit of road noise that comes into the cabin. I don't know where that's come from, but that is something that you really notice on coarse chip roads. It's sort of quite loud and boomy inside the cabin. So we've put it up against our calibrated sound meter, and this is how it went. If you do want to see how this car compares to others that we've tested before, there is a link in the description below. Now, time for the sine waves. So let's pick up the speed. This has a local ride and handling tune, so it shouldn't be too bad through here. So we do this at 130 k's an hour. It replicates a choppy country road. Yeah, there we go. That feels really good. Part of the benefit of them switching to Czech production is this gets independent rear suspension as well, so it should help out in our handling section too when the speed picks up. Okay, it is bumpy road time, so we do this at 90 k's an hour. Gives us an idea of what the suspension is like over this incredibly bad choppy stretch of road. Yeah, look, this feels good. It is on the slight firmer side, but feels really nice and comfortable behind the wheel, and it's soaking up all these bumps great. Here's our condensed sine wave. So the suspension is falling perfectly into those divots. It's not riding along the top of them. So yeah, from a ride point of view, this is fantastic. Now let's talk about your drive modes. So you've got a button here for drive modes. You have Eco, Normal and Sport. We go for a little fang around the ride and handling track now. We do this with all cars back to back to see exactly how they feel. You know what, this, when they developed the i30N, you can see that they've worked from quite a strong chassis base and then developed the N version, because the road holding here is, I reckon it's class leading, and that is saying something given how old this vehicle is at the moment. It still hammers along really nicely, and you can just imagine with the N version they went and stuck a giant engine under the bonnet, but didn't have to do as much work to the chassis as you would if you initially just developed an i30 hatch. So this hybrid is a really strong engine. It doesn't feel like it's an engine that's been developed entirely for fuel economy, because I am still getting great feedback through the throttle. Steering feels great, and it is humming along really nicely. It doesn't feel like it's inadequate for this package, so bloody impressive, very nice. Okay, let's test the semi-autonomous systems here. So we use the 3 outer lanes of our bowl to achieve that. We'll turn the lane centering back on, set our cruise at 70 k's an hour, and then I'll switch the semi-autonomous steering function on as well. That's one click of this guy. All right, we want to see how well it keeps the car centered in the lane. So first lane here, it's doing a good job. Very nice. All right, jump over to the next lane. All right, that is green. It's doing a great job here as well. That's holding the vehicle very nice and central there. And then we'll jump up to our outermost lane. This is the hardest because it has to apply the most torque here to hold the vehicle in the lane. So we're going to gradually let go of that wheel. Look, it's straddling the line, but it's actually sort of holding the vehicle there. So it's sort of half working. It's actually not too bad because a lot of vehicles will just fail and not work at all in that outer lane. So at least it is sort of putting enough effort in there. I think you'll find if you're testing it out on the street, might just be a little hesitant in terms of staying on for those tighter turns. Righto, it is time to do some performance testing. So we're going to go from 0 all the way through to 120, which gives us indication of 0 to 100 and then the 80 to 120 overtaking time. So I might switch off traction control just so we can get a bit of wheel slip off the line there. Here we go. Pretty sluggish off the line. This isn't set up with a launch control, so it's not overly quick there. So 100 k's an hour, and then there's 120. Just come to a stop. Okay, so let's have a look at that. So it's 0 to 100 in 9.2 seconds. So that is pretty slow. I think most of that is lost right at the start there when it slips to get off the line. Yeah, I just don't know why they use these dual clutches in cars like this, because it just affects everything. You are getting a fuel economy benefit, but they're not quick off the line. They're sort of just a bit fussy at times. Just a torque converter does the job perfectly fine. 80 to 120, 5.92 seconds. So once it's up and moving, it's actually not that bad. It's just at the low speeds. It just takes so long for it to hook up and get moving, even in sport mode. So yeah, just something to keep in mind. So having a little play with that, there is a way I can trick it into stalling up briefly, but it has to be when the car is switched off. So I'm going to give that one more shot. I'm basically going to have to come to a stop, wait for the car to switch off, stall it up, and then take off. So let's just give this one more crack. So, okay, it's off, stall it up, and now take off. Yeah, that's much more aggressive off the line there. So let's see if that improves the 0 to 100 times. So there's 100, and there's 120. Okay. Let's have a look at that. That felt much better. Okay, so that time around 0 to 100, 8.68 seconds. So it's shaved off about half a second off that, and then 80 to 120, 5.8. So pretty much the exact same time. So there is a way to do it. It just requires a little bit of fussing around. Okay, it is time to do a stop from 100 to see what the wheel and brake package is like. Here we go. 100 to 0, 2.58 seconds, 35.15 meters. That is unreal. That is a very, very impressive stopping distance. If you do want to see how this car compares to others that we've tested before in terms of stopping distance, I think this might be one of the best. Have a look at the link in the description below. Okay, now our reverse acceleration test. Here we go. How fast does it go in reverse? 45 kilometers an hour. Okay, so Hyundai i30 hatch, what do we think? Look, it is starting to show its age and it's pretty expensive now. The drivetrain isn't too bad, but I don't love the gearbox. The interior feels pretty old. Handles nicely though, so it's got a lot of pros and cons, but I don't know that it would be the first vehicle that I rush to in this segment to hop onto, so which is a little bit disappointing. But I think that means that you should be able to get a sharper deal on this, given the current climate of the car sector. Now is the time to be hammering a bargain away with your dealer. So I reckon this could be a good candidate for one of those, because it is pretty efficient, and if you can save some money on the purchase price, you should be right as rain. Now let me know, have you bought one of these? Have you owned one of these for a little while now? What do you reckon? Let me know in the comments section below. If you did enjoy this video, I'd love it if you could like it and share it with your mates. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. But until next time, take it easy.